So, for the first time ever, I decided to finally get rid of Captain Hunter on this one. So basically this build is exactly the same as my previous videos, so if you want to know what this build is, just watch the most recent other videos I have on it. Well, I think I show everything I'm using. The only change I just made is I just swapped Captain Hunter for a tidal wave or whatever the other one was to have an extra heat wave. So that way I can stack 3 heat wave debuffs. Now doing this, when I went through this expedition and others, I was pretty much doing the exact same times, so it looks like my damage is pretty much unchanged. But I like it more because now, one, I just like to use the skill. So now I've always wanted to be able to use all 3 of them, just because I freaking love Heat Wave. It's the most classic Pyro move. So now I can't use all 3, because they all stack on top of each other, so all my debuffs constantly stack, which is why getting rid of Captain Hunter and gaining that hasn't really been much of a damage loss. Not to mention, I think it helps me even tank more, because now I have another means of healing, because so much of my skill each healing is off Heat Wave anyway. Also, most importantly too, it just helps my team more, so it's like my damage is unchanged, so I'm not hurting my team anymore because of that. But now I really have just maxed out every single Pyro debuff imaginable. Now I really do just activate all of them constantly with max cooldowns on all of them. So much so that I realize that it's kind of annoying where I can't activate, like, Thermal Bomb gets ready before I'm even done using all my heat waves. Makes me wonder if maybe I'd be better off then getting rid of the cooldown mode for Thermal Bomb to get more, like, I don't know, Trial by Fire or Extinction or something, just more damage or maybe more armor with Ignites, giving me armor or something like that. But when you think about it, even though it's like, yeah, that my skills are ready before I finish using the other skills, it's still overall it's helpful, because sometimes I will activate it instantly when they're all ready. Sometimes they're all 3 still on cooldown. So I think overall, even if you're not always activating them, having a lower cooldown is still useful. Also for surviving again, because Thermal Bomb also heals me too, and it also puts a strong debuff if the other 2 aren't available. So I think having max cooldowns, as always, as I do on every single one of my builds, is always the way to go for both the tanking and the damage for these kind of support tank builds. I always want to aim for max cooldowns. Also, because I mean, it's just your skills are what your skills pretty much are this game. So maxing your skill cooldowns just always seems logical to me. It's why I hate so many legendary sets that force you to not have max cooldowns, because they have crappy attributes. And a lot of them you can't have max health like I can on this dude. Anyway, this is I think this is like a more fun build than don't get me wrong, I love my other Pyro build. I will still use it. It's still better than this build in some situations. I think it still overall does more damage than this build, but this build is finally like gotten very close to it again. So I feel like this build finally compares to that one, where it's like it's less damage, but it's even tankier. It's much more close range, and it does even more debuffs, especially in close range. He's kind of very focused. I noticed my other Pyro build takes down the hordes faster still, just because of the permanent ash and infinite volcanic rounds with his debuffs shooting them. So he still takes down the hordes faster, and overall he does the expedition faster too. But I noticed this dude can take down the bosses and the elites a little bit faster than my other Pyro, because of all those debuffs. Even without Captain Hunter now too, he still takes down the elites faster when he gets going on them. Like the really tanky elites, he'll take down faster than my other Pyro can do, because then he's able to unleash all his debuffs, Moaning Winds, and just keep it going with Sandstorm and Death Chains between Moaning Winds. Anyway, I think I just wanted to say that. Like, it's the first time I'm experimenting without Captain Hunter. Captain Hunter is such a good mod, especially for these kind of builds, because it's just a flat damage increase on so many of the tankiest enemies here. So I definitely noticed the hit, because I not doing any more damage, despite getting another debuff from Heat Wave. But that's how I know it's kind of balanced itself out, and I'm still helping my team more by just popping even more debuffs around the field, and then when we're focused on the boss, then I'm popping every debuff possible on him to max out their damage. I feel like this build would be extremely good with like a pure glass cannon build, since it's a tank. It just sweeps in, and then on top of that, it just debuffs the crap out of things. Alright.
Remember that freak I fought last time? The one who nearly buried me alive?
Am I gonna have to dig you out of the rubble again?
Not this time. He's sung his last.